Tonight on Grady Newsource, Athens police arrest a suspect wanted in multiple counties for auto theft. Later on, the community of Jackson County comes together to raise money for a beloved teacher diagnosed with cancer. And then, how a new app can help reduce the amount of litter in Oconee County. All this and more, live at 5.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College of the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Multiple counties were involved in a chase this weekend when a man fled Morgan County on Friday night in a stolen vehicle. He was arrested in Athens, Clarke County on Sunday afternoon. Olivia Wakeham brings us the full story.
This is the area where Athens, Clarke County and Oconee County police apprehended a suspect accused of stealing several vehicles yesterday afternoon. Athens police were one of multiple county police departments involved in the chase over the weekend. Captain Brandon Sellers of the Morgan County Sheriff Department says the suspect already had an arrest warrant out from the MARTA Police Department. Captain Sellers says they received a call around 5 p.m. on Friday about a vehicle parked in the middle of Crawford Road.
We put out pretty quickly on our Facebook. We got a picture from a Ring camera that we put out, trying to get information out so really our citizens will know to get inside, lock the door, or call us for anything suspicious.
When an officer showed up at the location, the suspect fled on foot, leaving the car behind. The Sheriff Department soon discovered it was a car stolen from Forsyth County. After a sighting on Bethany Road near the interstate, the police paused their search at about 11:30 p.m. on Friday.
I don't know the details, ins and outs of what happened between then and yesterday afternoon. I do, Oconee County has a suspect in stealing at least 2 cars from there.
The chase came to an end on Sunday afternoon. Police cornered the suspect near Cheddar's and Best Buy on Epsbridge Road with assistance from the Georgia State Patrol, or GSP.
I do know that GSP had their aviation up, and that played a huge role in us being able to locate them and apprehend them.
With the help of Oconee County, Morgan County, Athens Clarke County Police, and GSP, he is now in custody with Athens Clarke County Police.
But, the collaboration between agencies was phenomenal, and that played a huge role in even catching them this time.
A magnitude 7.8 earthquake struck Syria and Turkey early this morning. The quake killed thousands and left countless people injured. Cham Dallas, a public health professor at the University of Georgia, spoke with Grady Newsource about what individuals can do to help recovery efforts.
There's a border. Worthy organizations, but it's the second tier organizations. They call them non-governmental organizations, NGOs. They're the ones that need the help, need the encouragement. And you're not just helping those refugees, you're helping the helpers, which are struggling right now.
Dallas said the reason the destruction was so devastating is because the buildings were not built to endure an earthquake. Instead, they crumble. Rescuers continue looking for survivors and pulling people out from underneath the rubble. More than 250,000 women are diagnosed with breast cancer every year. According to the CDC on Saturday, the Jefferson community came out to support a beloved teacher battling the disease. Grady Newsource reporter Connor Hendricks was at the booking for the Backer 5K.
Heather Backer has taught PE at Gum Springs Elementary School since it first opened.
I've seen other school systems and everything, but this is truly a community that's full of family.
In 2015, Backer was diagnosed with 2 types of breast cancer. Backer was on medication for the cancer, but
At some point in time, toward the end of that 5 years, it quit working. So then it came back in January of 2021.
the Jackson County school system held a blood drive Thursday and War Pink Friday. On Saturday, the district held the Bookin' It for Backer 5K at Gum Springs Elementary to raise money for Backer's treatment. The district says over 400 people ran in the race.
Jackson County school system has supported me through and through, and it's just absolutely amazing.
Molly Heron teaches at West Jackson Middle School, but got to know Backer when she taught at Gum Springs. Heron says it was important to come out and support Backer.
She's one of the strongest women I know, and she has 3 young children, and she's done so much for the community. So she deserves all this love and support.
The race brought in $18,000, all of which will go to Backer.
Just keep fighting like you have been, and just you can kick this. And we love you.
In Jefferson, Connor Hendricks, Grady Newsource.
Over the weekend in Madison County, there was a cornhole tournament. Grady Newsource reporter Maddie McCaffrey was there to capture the fun event that had a greater purpose behind it.
For Todd's Cornhole Fundraiser Tournament brought many residents of Madison County out to have some fun while raising money for the Madison County Recreation Department Sports Scholarship Fund.
Brings a lot of friends together, not about winning and all that stuff, just having fun.
Holly Haynes, the program coordinator, came up with the idea to put on a cornhole tournament.
Back in 21, cornhole was really starting to grow in Madison County, so we decided to do a cornhole tournament, seeing kind of, how many people would be interested, and it was a huge hit.
The scholarship fund in Madison County makes a difference in the lives of children who would not be able to play sports otherwise.
There are families who are underprivileged. I grew up as a scholarship kid myself. I know how it feels to either buy soccer cleats or your mom has to put food on the table. So I want to give everybody an opportunity to play sports if they really want to.
Last year, the scholarship fund served over 20 kids in Madison County throughout the spring and fall seasons.
Anytime that we can help out in some of the fundraising in school or anything like that, we would love to. It's very important for anybody.
The Madison County Recreation Department puts on a number of fundraising events throughout the year, and they have many different sports and activities to offer. And this Friday is their annual Daddy-Daughter Dance. In Madison County, for Grady Newsource, I'm Maddie McCaffrey.
Today, the UGA Black Male Leadership Society held a Q&A session in honor of Black History Month. Grady Newsource reporter Sydney Hood was there and put her brain to the test for us.
We just want to share fun facts by seeing who already knew the facts, and we can also teach these facts to people. Let's do 7.
The teacher here is Grady Taylor with UGA BLMS.
What year was slavery introduced to the Americas?
His questions are meant to pick your brain.
What city is the nation's Black Mecca?
And whether someone knows their history or not, well, it's a roll of the dice.
I wish I knew a little bit more, but it was nice. I didn't know enough to get a free Chick-fil-A sandwich.
The prize won here means more than just a sandwich.
Being on the predominantly white campus, we feel like it's very important to show our culture to people as well.
33 questions asked here to introduce Black history, ranging from the easy ones.
Who was the first Black president?
Oh, wait. Oh, Barack Obama.
Yes. To the not so easy ones.
Who is Spike Lee?
I don't know who that is.
The overall goal here is to educate.
It's good to know this knowledge. It's good to know about what Black history is, where it comes from, and why not a lot of people know about it, and why it's important to Black people to know their history.
And learn something you didn't know beforehand.
Did you learn something new today? I sure did.
Sydney Hood, Grady Newsource.
A nonprofit helping victims of sexual assault has opened up a new location, hoping to provide a better service for victims. Grady Newsource reporter McGregor Rowland tells us about SANE's new location.
Athens-based organization SANE provides forensic examinations of sexual assault. They have recently opened up a new location in Oconee County. This new facility in Bogart provides a central location for the full services that SANE provides for victims of sexual assault.
Survivors would have to go to one location to do their interview and then over to Clark County to our main office to have their forensic medical services rendered. And that can be a lot for someone when they're already experiencing a trauma.
This new location here in Bogart, Georgia is a way in which SANE is looking to increase its outreach and efforts in Northeast Georgia. With SANE partnering with the Oconee County Sheriff's Department with their available resources, Sheriff James Hale views the relationship as a necessary partnership in sexual assault cases all around Northeast Georgia.
SANE allows us resources to do what we call forensic interviews. Then the exam itself, if there's some sort of physical trauma or anything like that, for the victim, SANE also has the nurses that does those physical exams.
With SANE planning to open up a new location for quite some time now, there is also a focus to upgrade this space to a higher standard compared to the historic buildings that they have been using.
The building that we're in now has state-of-the-art equipment. It's definitely soundproof. It's a lot lighter than the William Daniel House was on the inside.
SANE will continue to improve its outreach and resources.
We definitely want to strengthen our capacity in the 3 locations that we have. We want to develop funds so that all programs are sustainable.
McGregor Rowland, Grady Newsource.
Coming up after the break, how the University of Georgia impacts the state economy.
There's some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back. Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
A new study reveals that the University of Georgia has impacted the Georgia economy. The study found that the university created an estimated $7.6 billion economic impact for the state of Georgia. This was a $200 million increase from last year, but the true impact is probably higher. The majority of the impact comes from the lifetime earnings of students that graduated from the university last year, which is estimated to be $5.1 billion. Research and public outreach combined contributed to the rest of the $2.5 billion, and the spending from out-of-state and international students also added to the impact. Athens business manager Leslie Maddox says that her shop has felt the impact of this increased spending.
We had a 2-year debt because of COVID, and so it erased the COVID deficit. And we probably were up over 50% over the year before. But we had our largest revenue day in record at the celebration in 2021 that we had ever had.
UGA expects the university's economic impact to increase over the coming years. While the economy in Jackson County is booming, some residents are unhappy about the changes to their agricultural community. Grady Newsource reporter Olivia Goche takes a look at these developments ahead of their commission meeting tonight.
The County of Jackson is seeing growth like never before.
We are one of the fastest growing counties in the state of Georgia.
This comes in the wake of SK Battery America exceeding its hiring goal in Jackson County, now projected to hire upwards of 3,000 workers. This plant is just one of many new developments, part of a growth that Assistant County Manager Gina Roy says was inevitable.
As far as the growth here, I think it was just an inevitable growth pattern with Interstate 85 going right through our county and making that connection from an industrial basis. I think it's coming whether or not we like it, and so we have to prepare for our infrastructure and our people.
Many Jackson County residents, however, are unhappy with this growth they are seeing. Earlier this month, they gathered at the Planning Commission meeting to voice their concerns.
Jackson County right now is having to cover a lot of ground. Jackson County cannot police Jackson County as it is with the population.
The Planning Commission voted unanimously to deny a new subdivision development in response to the community's remarks, meaning the Jackson County Commissioners will now have the final say. And Jackson County Commissioners will be meeting here tonight at 6 p.m. in the Jackson County Courthouse. They will be opening up the floor for citizen input, where members of the community can voice their concerns about anything, whether it is on the agenda or not for tonight. However, the meeting 2 weeks from now will be where they have the final vote on all of these new proposed land developments. Olivia Gauthier, Grady Newsource.
The Barrow Community Foundation is working on a new park in Winder. Grady Newsource reporter Owen Burt visited the park site to learn more.
Ben McDaniel and his two friends were tired of having to go out of town to find parks.
Doug Mitchell and Philip Gosling, two friends of mine, and between us we have like 13 kids. And we got tired of taking our kids, like I did this past weekend, to the World of Wonder Park in Athens or going to Alexander Park in Gwinnett County. And we were thinking, wouldn't it be great if we had something great like this?
McDaniel says they only have one public basketball court in Barrow County. With the new park, they will now add 2 new sports courts. The Barrow County Community Foundation has currently raised 75% of the needed $5.5 million for the park project.
Programs like this, and it goes along with our school system. Winder, if you've been down here, in all of our Barrow County towns, they're booming. There's a lot of stuff going on, and this is a quality of life. So when companies want to relocate to Barrow County, they're looking at a lot of things. They're looking at our education system. They're looking at it as a business climate that's friendly to everyone, but also what's the quality of life like? And having a destination playground, that stuff matters.
The future park will be walking distance from downtown Winder. McDaniel is very passionate about this project.
Like, there's no gate saying no, keep out. It's open. Fort Yargo, it's like one of our public parks are some of the last vestiges where everybody's welcome. Everybody. That's my 2 cents, sorry.
The next step is breaking ground on the park, and the goal date is sometime in May. With Grady Newsource in Barrow County, I'm Owen Burt.
The family of Manuel Turan is seeking more information about his death following a private autopsy that showed Turan was shot by police at least 13 times. Turan was killed while protesting the possible destruction of a forest in a historically black neighborhood to build a police training facility. The family held a press conference today in Decatur, demanding access to the investigation. Coming up in sports, 2 things to keep an eye out for: the new decal with the UGA baseball and where to watch Super Bowl 57 in Athens.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
You're home before sunrise. On top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight, both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back, because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
I'm Logan Crump, and this is Grady Newsource Sports. Everyone's eyes will be trained on their TVs this weekend as Super Bowl Sunday is quickly approaching. Many spots in Athens are gearing up for the game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. If you still haven't made any watch party plans, the University of Georgia's got you covered. There will be a live showing on Myers Quad the day of the event starting at 6:30 p.m. If that's not your style, don't worry. Head down to a local sports bar to watch that big game while grabbing a cold drink. If you're staying at home, you can catch the match on Fox. Streaming services such as Hulu Plus and YouTube TV will also be available for you to see it live. However method you fancy, the Chiefs and the Eagles will be facing off this Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The Eagles are the slight favorites to win, but the game is still considered to be a coin flip. In local news, the UGA baseball team will be wearing a special sticker on their helmets this season to honor former coach Steve Weber after his passing in November of last year. I met with head baseball coach Scott Strickland to find out more about this new design.
He's the all-time winningest coach here at the University of Georgia baseball program, and they won a national title in 1990, and he's a personal close friend of mine. And, it's very saddened to hear of his passing, and we just thought that we needed to do something to honor him and his family. So we'll be wearing a helmet decal sticker with his number, has his number 27, and it's actually a little pennant, and it'll say 1990 national champion as well. But just something the least we could do to honor his memory and honor his family.
Coach Weber led the Bulldogs to a total of 500 victories, which accumulated into the team making it to the 1990s SEC championship. Later in the same year, Weber was named the National Coach of the Year. Fans will be able to see the honorary stickers during their season opener next Friday, February 17th, where they will be facing off against Jacksonville State in Foley Field. This has been your Grady Newsource Sports. I'm Logan Crump.
The University of Georgia has created an exhibit to honor the women who pioneered the integration of women's athletics in honor of the 50th anniversary of Title IX's passage. The educational amendment gave women more rights and freedoms, including the ability to participate in athletics. Jason Hasty, the curator of A Chance to Play exhibit, wanted to make sure he covered all bases of the history of women's athletics at UGA, starting with the humble beginnings of their physical education program.
Relates to women's PE, which was how women could participate in athletics on campus before Title IX. There was nothing varsity for them, there was no varsity competition, but there were women who wanted to participate in athletics, and they could do so through going through the women's physical education department.
The exhibit showcases not only memorabilia from the physical education programs, but the first and other past women's athletic teams at UGA. Former UGA athletes such as Teresa Edwards and Allison Schmidt donated items to the displays as well. This exhibit seems to be a step in the right direction in terms of women's rights in athletics. However, controversy still remains in regards to funding. A Pew Research study found that while 61% of Americans would say that men's and women's college athletic teams should be roughly equally funded, but 21% of Americans think that funding should be based on the amount of money brought in by the team. Coming up on Grady Newsource, we bring you the 5-day forecast and how you can be prepared for severe weather this spring.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
You know, a lot of people say, when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Welcome back. I'm Josh Tulevsky with your Grady Newsource weather forecast. It's a pleasant day in Athens with clear skies and highs in the mid-60s. Temperatures will drop to the 40s tonight with a low of 37 degrees. Now around 10 p.m. tonight, we're going to start to get partly cloudy skies that will continue into Tuesday, which will have a high of 66 and a low of 44. We'll see increased cloud coverage on Wednesday, though it will bring a high of 68 and a low of 55. After Wednesday, the rest of the week is going to bring some rain showers. There will be a 70% chance of showers Thursday with a high of 66 and a low of 49. The chance of rain on Friday will be at 40% with the high falling to 63 degrees and the low at 39. Now, despite the normal weather we're experiencing this week, the National Weather Service has chosen this week as Severe Weather Awareness Week in Georgia. Monday's focus is on severe weather safety. Georgians are advised to stay up to date with severe weather news and media and have an emergency plan prepared at home to work or outdoors and be ready to have an emergency kit and easily accessible. This spring, be sure to prepare for possible thunderstorms, flash floods, and tornadoes. In the event of lightning, make sure to get indoors. Additionally, seek shelter on the lowest level of a building during a tornado and make sure to stay away from windows. Do not drive, walk, or swim in flowing water during a flash flood. Just 6 inches of water can pose a serious threat to your well-being if you're caught outdoors. And remember to get prepared during a severe weather watch so you can take action during a severe weather warning. For more information, you can visit the National Weather Service's website. With today's weather for Grady Newsource, I'm Josh Tulevsky.
Coming up after the break, how a phone app is helping Oconee County clean up the community.
We scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Hey, why does my face look like that? I'm playing with these new face filters. Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine. I'm gonna need that back. No. Kevin!
Best this Wednesday, February 8th for the Grady Career Fair. More than 30 employers are registered, including local TV stations such as 11 Alive, as well as larger companies including Delta Airlines and Warner Brothers Discovery. The fair will be held in Tate Grand Hall from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It will be followed by a mixer with employers in the Peyton Anderson Forum from 2:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. That's all for tonight, y'all. Allie Pigler, Grady Newsource. See you next time.
I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers, he connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Never angry before. You were very comfortable and
I don't know when to shut up.
yeah. All right, are you going to say something? Please come on. Yeah. Who's going to do the... You guys were just impressive. This is our first live show for... If viewers are just joining us to hear our critique, post-show critique. Yes. This is just wonderful that you guys were brave enough just after one mock show to go live, and we had amazing volunteers at SPMs who I didn't notice a single glitch in that show, our first live show, so I don't know how you pulled it off, but this is wonderful, and I would love to hear from you guys. That we did have some glitches on our side, so we need to hear what they were so that we will avoid them.
All right, so I'll start. When you're putting stuff in the rundown, use those templates. They'll help you. What it does is it sets a standard. So for example, there were a couple where there wasn't an anchor tag, so it's just words and it doesn't tell the anchor what to do. And if you've been on a prompter, you've seen that and you know what to do. Graphics, treat them just like you do a video. Load them into videos, put the parentheses, insert A, do all the same stuff. If you want a full screen graphic, it needs to be 16 by 9, so wider than it is tall, so it needs to be HD. We punted today and threw one as an OTS because it was square, which is fine. It didn't have the same impact, but it was fine. Speaking of graphics, remember that ticker is going to be up the entire time. So if you build a graphic and you have where you're crediting people for knowledge or sending people to a website and it's below that ticker, it's below that ticker. So keep that in mind. The only other thing, and I'll always say this, you're never going to get your videos in too early for us. So the earlier you can get it in, the earlier we can find potential problems and see issues. So, all right, here you go, Sarah.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
Our engineer, Tom. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, definitely on our tech end, we had basically all new volunteers in there, so honestly really surprised and really happy that it went so smoothly as it did on our tech side. Just a couple things. Make sure we're labeling VOs and SOTs correctly. If you can put where you name it, separate the VOs and SOTs and either name it as a VO or as a SOT, that'd be super helpful. Yeah, everything else was really great. Round of applause to y'all because everything looked really awesome. So, yeah.
And round of applause to you and all of you. That was just impressive. So, guys, you were right. We were ready to go live. I would love to hear from you guys as you hand it over to the next team. I deliberately kept the leadership team the same for the mock show, and sorry I have my back at you, for the mock show and the live show so that we have some consistency. And now you guys, you have the experience of a mock show and a live show, so please give the next person, as you hand over that role to the next person, tell them your best advice and what you learned. And I'd love to hear from you guys. Very briefly from me, I continue to be very, very impressed. I'm hoping that for the next show we will also have, the MMJs will have two human sources in their packages. But it was really impressive. Everybody filled in the pitch sheet. You had your second ideas. We even had our quick turn people who were working on several ideas and came up with more than they were asked for. Olivia was our lead package, our quick turn, and she flagged a breaking news story, several actually, and one didn't check out. We talked about, a story, needs to be checked out before it's pitched. Just, if it's not your beat, check with the person who has the beat and go with it. Just go and capture the story. And with you, Olivia, because you didn't have B-roll of the actual apprehension of the suspect, my suggestion would have been for you, where you're showing us where it happened, to do a bridge stand-up. That would have added a lot to your package when I watched it. But again, I was not able to watch it carefully. These are just my initial impressions. And if I have other feedback, I will let you guys know, just give you some advice. I tried to give you a few tips while I was copy editing your scripts, and I will give you some tips if I notice something from the video side and how the visual storytelling went. But that, after I watched the show carefully. I worked with a lot of you trying to explain active voice. I saw that you guys, even though you nodded and you seemed to understand what I was trying to say, you still put in your passive voice leads, and that is okay. But we'll work on that active voice and that broadcast style. Start with the news. A lot of you started with the history of an event, and I turned your packages, I turned your pyramids upside down, where you start with the news and then you go into the background and what happens. So we work more on that. I'm not sure that all of you still understand what a VO SOT is. So basically, you're out of the picture, even though you worked hard to get a soundbite like Jules, unless this is like a Q&A, like a snippet of an interview where you are on camera asking a question. We don't introduce you as the hard worker who managed to snag the interview. It's just anchor on camera, the soundbite, which in a VO SOT, the soundbite, unlike a package, needs to be a little bit longer. Not longer than 30 seconds, of course, but not shorter than, let's say, 20 seconds, because it looks awkward otherwise, and we need a little more context. And then the anchor reads after a tag, live tag, after the soundbite. So it's anchor on camera, soundbite on tape, anchor on camera. That's the structure of it. And it should be 45 seconds to a minute if it's a longer sort of a snippet from an interview like Jules was, then it could go a minute. But otherwise, it should not be more than 45 seconds. So that's a VO SOT. We'll keep working on it. I suggested the bridge stand up. I could still see a few flash frames here and there, and so watch your packages, and if you see a flash frame or a jump cut, try to fix that. And let me see. I liked our weather and sports anchors. They're really comfortable on camera. However, I would suggest that Logan smile a little bit and try to use your voice to change the pitch so that you change the subject. But otherwise, you looked great. You were very comfortable. Very interesting content. You even had a soundbite for your sports. And so I really liked your sports cut-in. But take a look at it again, and you will see when you sort of stumbled, you smiled, and that was so beautiful. You graciously got yourself out of, you didn't take yourself so seriously. You sort of told the viewers, well, I stumbled on this, and you smiled, and that was a very, very nice way to handle that. You could have smiled initially also because at the end you had a more serious story, the tribute to the athlete, but in the beginning you could have smiled more and used the pitch of your voice to go higher for one story and then go lower, or read one story a little bit faster and then to change the subject, transition into either higher pitch or read slower if you were reading faster. Just little things like that really help keep the viewer's attention, because sports is so copyrighted that we don't have those images to show people, so that helps. But and with Josh, I could tell you were reading. Try to ad-lib when you're doing sports. You were blocking your graphic at what you're standing right smack in the middle of it, and so if you watch weather, the weather anchor stands on one side or the other of a graphic, and you can see yourself in the little monitor on this side, and then when you're on this side, there's a bigger monitor. So the way you see yourself is by watching that monitor, so you see where you're positioned. So, and you point and you look at, your graphic is your cheat sheet, and everything you said about that graphic, you didn't take us through all that important information. First you need to do this, then you need to do that, then you need to do this. You were blocking part of the graphic, and we didn't quite get all this great advice that you had there because it wasn't narrated. And so, and also with the temperatures, again, we're going to have highs in the 60s and lows, and basically the graphics are your cheat sheet, and you can see them in the monitors depending on, and if you can move, and you can be on one side, and then to change the subject from the tornado to the other thing you were telling us about, you can move, and but just watch it and you'll see. This was your first time. It was done live, which was impressive. You had a wonderful presence. You were smiling. You were just, bless you. You were, very pleasant to watch, and that's the only thing I would have said. Just don't block your information, and interact with the screen, and treat the screen like your friend, not like, I'm not even going to look at you. I'm just going to keep, reading in my nice, pleasant way. But if you look at this, and you need to practice, did you get a chance to practice your graphics and everything? You would have noticed that. So that's what weather anchors do. They go in there and they practice when, between 2 and 3, when we do the recording, there's an opportunity for you to work with the SPMs and the volunteers to see yourself in action and practice that. And then you would have noticed, you know, that the graphics, there was just too much. You need to reveal one by one those bullet points and narrate them one by one. But that's, again, I'm really impressed with both of you. That's not easy what you were doing for the first time. Both of you, wonderful presence. You look great, wonderful presence. Ali as well. I couldn't believe that this was the first time you were anchoring. And so at this point, I will just zip it, and I want to hear from you guys. So should we start with, let's hear from the digital producer first, and then we'll go to the TV producer real quick. And
so I think today went pretty well. We ended up getting an Instagram post, Facebook, YouTube, web article, Twitter. So gotten pretty much everything. So hopefully our impressions will be going up. And yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot. I'm very excited
and please
to pass
pass
it on.
on your number one, all of you pass on your number one tip to the next person taking on your role.
I think my number one tip is, to communicate with your reporters and get your information from them early, because that makes your job a lot easier. If you're not on a crunch trying to write out what you want to post, and if Dr. Bright's not on a crunch trying to edit it, that'll make all of our lives a lot easier and the posts a lot better in the long run.
All right, thank you, Rachel. So, do you have a mic?
I do. Yeah, thank y'all today for getting everything in.
Cole is our indomitable TV producer.
Yeah, there you go. But, yeah, just some tips. Be on people's case, be nice, but you need to know what they're doing, so it fits your script that you've planned. Definitely plan early after y'all submit. The pitch is at 8 last night. It was pretty easy to kind of get an idea of what I wanted with the pitches, and that took all of like 20 minutes. So it's not that much to do before. And yeah, just because it's in small tree doesn't mean it's in the rundown. Just remember that, because then the packages aren't necessarily ready, or those segments aren't necessarily ready, and yeah, just and kind of know where everybody's at, I guess. But
what surprised you the most about producing, or what did you wish you knew?
I would say nothing that was too surprising, but definitely like in the show, in time. That's like on your feet thinking. I told Colin I had to float his story, and luckily it was around the same time that we were over. But that's a little stressful in there. But other than that, yeah, that was a surprise how stressful the time was, and thinking about what you're gonna.
Yeah, that's the most stressful time.
What you're gonna float and stuff. And yeah, just making sure you have enough stories to fill out that rundown, and also know how to use rundown. It helps everybody. So just like definitely get used to that. So thank you.
And Destiny, what would your number one tip be, and anything you want to share?
Yes. So I think I did a better job today with being organized. I'll say one tip is I made a template for us to use for the other assignment editors, but I feel like the best thing to do is stay organized and make sure that you're aware of what everybody's stories are, and to keep updates what everybody's doing, like who they're interviewing, or if they already done their interview, or what their sources are, along with keeping track of everything pretty much. So staying organized is the key for me today, for me being very successful. So my document and my notebook I had, it kept me sane today, but staying on track.
And who's the next assignment editor? So Sydney, she's going to pass on a Google Doc that she started, and it's something that you guys can develop, make it really user-friendly. And I give you the power to, and that's what I told Destiny, make it, change it and innovate with it so that it works, yeah.
Oh yeah, and one more thing is I also monitor the social media and my different news outlets for what's trending right now. So I made a list of the top 5 stories for today and for the rest of this week.
Yeah, and we don't want to miss any stories. The assignment editor, you have your finger on the pulse of the news, so you and the digital producer flag any stories that are breaking, trending, and we need to do. Okay, thank you. And our the boss, managing editor, Ashley.
My biggest tip is just remembering that you don't have to do everything, because I think I guess Wednesday I edited all the scripts because I didn't know it was part of Destiny's role to help me with that, and today we split it up a bit more, so that was really helpful, so thank you, because it's difficult when they all come in like around the same hour, and then I feel bad.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
You know, people get behind and they can't
Yes.
start recording their videos, so yeah, just split up the work. And try to get it started as early as
worked. Yeah, it worked, and then they come to me, and we try to. But there's definitely a traffic jam, and try to get your scripts earlier to us. Yeah, so that aim for 2 p.m. Allie, our anchor.
So the most difficult aspect of the day was the Grady Daily. I came in with several ideas, and
What made it difficult? What?
So, not fully understanding what a headline was, and I mean just being transparent. I may be making myself sound really silly right now, but just full transparency, understanding a headline and understanding what a primary source truly is, because finding a press release or finding a police report is not something that you can typically do within the hour.
So be more realistic, 'cause that's what you're trying to say.
Yes.
And that a headline is not going in depth into a story. It's just 2 to 3 sentences, and they're just like things that people need to know as they start their day. But you persevered, and you found that tornado drill coming up on Wednesday. No, tomorrow. Wednesday, so people need to know about it, that there's going to be a drill statewide and what they need to do. So that's an example of a headline which is helping people and informing them about something that's coming up and things that are happening in Northeast Georgia affecting people. And it's not, you pitched very interesting stories, including the balloon story, which you wanted to do an angle which requires either an interview or a package.
Pre-planning.
How does something impact U.S.-China relations? You know, that is a big story. Plus, we talked about thinking of localizing it because people will get that story, the impact on bilateral relations, from TV stations with much bigger resources than we have and access to a lot of sources. For us, we need to localize it and find out, did the balloon fly over Georgia? Did it endanger lives? Has there been local reaction from our representatives? There's been a lot of reaction in Congress, and but I think you learned a lot, and I think you finally got it, you know, but I find that it's not just you. I work a lot with anchors initially to help them understand what a headline is. And they're motivated, they come overly ambitious with stories that require more reporting, and just be realistic and find things that people need to hear about, and that we can, like the assignment editor, can flag them for us to develop. So, and what's your number one advice? The Grady Daily?
Grady Daily, and if anyone's lead is not in Rundown Creator, whenever you go put your earpiece in,
be your own advocate.
Be your own advocate,
Yes.
and ask them, what is the name of this event, or what is the name of this person that I'm going to talk about. That way you've at least said it once and you've heard it once, and you aren't scrambling whenever you have the paper in front of you 2 minutes before it goes live, and you can't ask anybody in that moment.
Yeah, yep. Very nice. Yes. So let's hear from who wants to share an adventure they had, something they want to share and pass on to others, something they learned, something they were surprised by, or...
I think my biggest shock was really kind of learning what a VOSOT was, because I I thought I had a vision of it in my head. But when I came into the newsroom, I felt so bad because I confused Professor V and I confused Clay because they thought it was a package. And, you know, in all honesty, I should have communicated that better. But at the same time, I was very, like, my vision of what a VOSA was different than what it actually is.
It was actually a mini package kind of thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and
and you understand now, you know, seeing how Allie was tripping over the sentences, that there shouldn't be more than 2 sentences, soundbite, and then 1 sentence at the end. And so again, don't be overly ambitious when you're doing a VO SOT, because it's very difficult for the anchor to be reading so much off a teleprompter, and also for the viewer to be paying attention for so long without visuals, because VO SOT again is anchor on camera. There could be a little bit of a visual, full screen, right?
Yes.
And then soundbite, and then anchor on camera for a tag. So that's what, but that's why we're here.
I
you
do
know,
agree.
I keep telling you, you would be wasting your time.
I do
guys, if you
agree.
knew everything.
I was too ambitious with it, and I wish I kind of knew what more it was before I dove in, because I
Well,
thought
now
I'm
you
going
know
to
what
challenge
more it-
myself. I'm going
yeah.
to challenge myself today, and I was like, and I made it so much harder for me.
Yeah, yeah. It'll all come together, yeah. So thank you, Hannah, for sharing that. And anybody else wants to? Would you like to say something, Owen?
I feel like I got a little lucky that the one character I did find for my story was interesting, because my
Yeah, that second one was, yeah.
my B-roll was not very interesting, but it was so.
Yeah, because it's something that hasn't
Yeah,
happened.
thinking about
Yeah.
visuals is definitely
Yeah.
something I need to do next time.
But that's what, you know, when you find a good character, I would start my piece with a soundbite with that character and
Mhm.
sort of weave my story, get B-roll of that character, something he's engaged in, connected to the story, or something, yeah.
And then I just definitely needed to mess with my audio levels in Premiere, because I could feel the tech team having to mess with it a lot as I was.
Yeah, yeah, but, you know, but it still came together with 2 sources about something that doesn't exist yet and is important to the community. Yeah, yeah. So anybody else wants to? Jules, would you like to share something about your adventure today?
Yeah, I think my best piece of advice is just to wake up early and look at the news, which is what I did this morning.
And you pivoted to a a global breaking news story and found a local angle, which is quite impressive.
Yeah, it was definitely, I think that's really important to find something that's, you know, national, as Quick Turn especially, find something that's national and talk about why it matters here, because people, you know, they see the national story, but like really seeing why it matters in the area that they're in is going to make the difference. That's like going to be what they take away after they watch it. So
what was your local angle?
Yeah, so I interviewed for the earthquake. I interviewed a UGA professor that specialized in destruction like this, and he, the one thing I got from him in our hour-long interview was, I finally just, the last question I asked was, what people are probably wondering here, what can they do? Like, what, if anything at all, can people do? And he told me to donate to organizations other than Red Cross and Doctors Without Borders, like mid-tier organizations is what he called them. And they're out there helping, they're discouraged, they're, you know, needing volunteers and money, and so that was what he said we could do.
And that was very local, what each one of us can do.
Yeah, what can we do with such a national story? So for Quick Turn, I would just say, get up early, read the news, like see those national headlines, and find a way to tie it to Athens or Northeast Georgia.
And be monitoring the news, as Olivia W.
Exactly,
did
yes.
and came up. Yeah, and so, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Jules. Just keep checking periodically, like check news or outlets, and also like Facebook and the local news outlets that probably don't have like maybe the highest quality, but might have more interesting stories to use. Yeah, and just be like
and
proactive.
that a Facebook post is anecdotal. It's a good starting point, but it doesn't always check out. And so, yeah, but that was impressive. Okay, one more minute. Who wants to share something? Nobody? Everybody's like, okay. Okay. Well, guys, thank you. I am truly impressed with you, and let's do it again on Wednesday. Let's do it even better. Guys, you should give yourself a hand. Impressive.